Hey family, I hope this works. I'm on my second cardboard box thing where fancy dancy. I'm hoping it stays still and I'm hoping the video comes out straight. So today I want to talk a little bit about Palo Santo and who he is and share a story. So, Palo Santo is, well, he's a tree, and I don't even know where to begin. Well, first of all, I want to just say something real quick about the sustainable harvesting. Now, there's sustainable and there's renewable. And when it comes to Palo Santo, that's a huge challenge because, well, first of all, you don't want to cut it down because, well, you just don't. It's never a good idea to cut down a tree, but especially Palo Santo. You need to wait for it to fall of its own free will. And then, or, in a storm or something, right? Without you doing it. No chainsaws, no axes. No hatchets. You just wait for him to fall, however many years that takes. Don't know. It's up to him. And then once he does fall, and he goes into a very long process, it takes 7 years. And only after the tree has been fallen and laying in the forest for 7 years can you then harvest it. That's sustainable, but not forever, because you have to plant one for every. You have to. If you take one out, you got to replace one, right? So anyhow, so endemic to, as far as I know, like Ecuador, Peru, kind of these places, in the Amazon, near the Amazon, and the coastal areas as well. Palo Santo, I'll just tell you this story, right? That was told to me. And I'll invite you to go and pay a visit to the Palo Santo store on the Malecon, or the boardwalk, the ocean front town of Lopez in Ecuador. That's also a docking point for people who want to go see the poor man's Galapagos. It's much closer. And anyhow, Puerto Lopez is, well, when I was there anyway, it was a cute little fishing town. And my friend Dante, originally from Italy, was there in the store. And as soon as I entered into the Malecon and I caught wind of Palo Santo, my nose just went straight there. And I was so fortunate and blessed that he knew I was coming, so he was actually in the store. What a great honor it was to meet him, to talk with him, to read his book, and just, yeah, he was an amazing wizard. He was like, well, I think he would have come up to like here on me. He was straight up wizard, picked through it, all kinds of stuff going on. And his name was Dante, and his story, he wrote about it in his book. So if you don't get a chance to go to Puerto Lopez and visit Dante for yourself or see his shop, you can perhaps find his book. It's called Sacred Smoke, and it was published in Spanish and English. It's one of the most beautiful books I've ever read, and I've read a lot of books. So, okay, so Dante's book, he talks about his mission, his purpose with the Palo Santo, and it called him there into Ecuador because the people were just chopping it down and burning it to keep away the mosquitoes. that's one of the properties of Palo Santo is it's like a really super strong grandfather who repels anything parasitical in the seen and the unseen world. So in the seen world, that would be the mosquitoes, So the Palo Santo actually communicated to Dante and said, "Come save me." And so he arrived and he told the people about Palo Santo, and he said, how you have to wait for the tree to fall and it has to lay for 7 years, and how we should be treating it with more reverence and respect than as to burn it to keep away the mosquitoes, because there's so many other things we can use, different plants, different herbs, that to repel mosquitoes. We don't need to, this is more exclusive, right? He convinced the people to stop cutting down the trees, and at the same time he opened up a sort of a business to say, well, look, if we want to have the Palo Santo products, whether it's the stick or the Palo Santo, by the way, means holy stick. So whether it's the wood piece I have here in my hand, or incense, or oils, or whatever, right? That we should plant more Palo Santo trees. So he somehow was able to procure a very large piece of land and began putting the Palo Santo trees back in place so they wouldn't die off and become extinct, because they were literally on the brink of extinction at this point. And that went really good because it gave people in the community opportunity for employment and stuff as well. So it was a win-win situation. Well, then a few years went by, and in come the cattle ranchers, because that's the newest, latest, and greatest, don't you know, way to make money. You buy a cow for $300, and then you mate her with a bull, and she has a baby, and you can sell that baby for $300, and any other baby gets sold for $300, and it was just a big money-making thing in Ecuador and in other places too, right? So, in order to make room for the cows to graze, they started cutting down the Palo Santo again. And Dante went into a state where it's like, okay, I can't do this by myself anymore, Palo Santo. Sorry, my phone's making a noise. I need you to help me help you. And he had an altar in his house for the Palo Santo. And he prayed with it. He had deep, deep, beautiful, intimate relationship with this tree. And, really with all trees, because he showed me a very precious collection of frankincense that was hundreds of years old. And so you don't just come across these kinds of things unless you have the blessing of the tree to carry them. And so, but at this point he was like, well, the people got dollar signs in their eyes. There's nothing I can do. They need to feed their families, yada, yada. So he went home to his altar and prayed with the Palo Santo and said, help me, help you. I don't know what to do. I don't know if there's anything I can do, but help me, Palo Santo. That was his prayer. And the next morning, or rather that night, while everybody was asleep, and the creatures of the night came out, and there was a creature of the night, a bat in particular, and this bat, I guess you would call it like a vampire bat, because a vampire is a predator, and you don't mess around. If you're a predator and you want to mess around with Palo Santo, you're going to have your you-know-what handed to you on a plate. So he worked with the spirit of the predator, because the Palo Santo is a master over the spirit of the bat. In this case, it's a tree, right? So wisdom of the earth connected to everything, right? Because all the roots and all the things that go underground, the stuff you can't see, right? And the Palo Santo called in this particular type of vampire bat, and it bit the cows in the nighttime. And in the morning, several of them were already very sick. And within a couple of days, I think they were all dead, the cows. So there went the capital investment of these poor people that scraped up $300 to buy a cow, and now their cow is dead. So they decided immediately that that wasn't such a good idea for a business. So you see how we're all connected. And we have this beautiful Palo Santo. Oh, he's just so much love and respect. And if you've never smelled the essence of the Palo Santo, hard to put it into words. It's just hard to put in words. You have to smell it first. If you're familiar with frankincense, it's kind of like that, but much more like a softer tone to it. Anyhow, that's the story of Palo Santo that was shared with me by an honorable elder, maestro, wizard. I shall call him Dante. And a shout out to him for the work that he's done to make sure that the Palo Santo continues to survive, and that the people understand what the Palo Santo is, and to treat it with the utmost respect and reverence and regard. It is a very sacred tree indeed. And yeah, if ever you feel like there's energetically stuff attached to you and feeding upon you, like a parasitical nature, you know, the average narcissist or violent psychopath or whatever, you know, is appearing in your field and gossiping about you, especially when they're gossiping and spreading things that aren't true. Sorry. Ooh, did you hear that? Right on time. Yeah, energy is real, people. And when you gossip about someone, just so you know, especially if you are saying things that are untrue, whether you're repeating them intentionally or not, but just the fact that you're gossiping and spreading lies about folks, that is the equivalent, not kidding, of murder in the spiritual world for the person who's telling the lies and spreading the gossip, and for the person that you're gossiping about. That's why I'm in such a state as I am in right now. Very disheveled and unsettled because of a literal another murder on the spiritual level, in the esoteric plane. And that's what I ask the Palo Santo for help to keep these predators and these ones that wish for me to, let's just say, check out of the skin suit before I'm ready, before I finished what I had to do. And with the help of Palo Santo, repel those energies and return them to their source. So that one of two or possibly both scenarios could unfold. One, so that the person receives back the pain and suffering that they've caused, so that they may understand what that feels like and make a better choice not to do that in the future, presuming there's a modicum of empathy. And or, you know, energetically, when you have a frequency, let's say it's 10 hertz, hypothetically, and it's existing here, but if you take a 10 hertz that it emits and return it in 10 hertz, it zeroes out the frequency. So just a little something that you can do with your technology. And of course, with the help of folks like Palo Santo, folks, spirits, beings, whatever you want to call. I consider him my grandfather, so thank you, Palo Santo, and thank you, Dante. And like I said, if you get a chance to go to Ecuador, a little town called Lopez. And if you fly into an airport called Manta, you can take a very short, I think it's less than 2 hours or 3 hours drive, and you can drive past all of the fields of Palo Santo that Dante planted. And the taxi driver will probably consider that this is a tourist site, so he might mention it to you. Or if not, just keep your eye out for it. Ask the taxi driver or the bus driver, whoever, local person, to tell you when you get to the Palo Santo fields. And that's the story of Palo Santo. And have a beautiful day. Ciao for now.